afternoon, everyone. Hi. I'm Shauna Taroso. I am the Executive Officer here at the Realtors Association of York and Adams Counties. I want to thank you all for being here. I know this is taking out time out of your day. We really appreciate it. We know it's going to take time for us to get those lock boxes changed out into the field. We thank you in advance for your cooperation, and here's the good news. This is the first time we've done this in 13 years. So here's to not doing it again in 13 years. So I appreciate it very, very much for you being here. There is a date that I want all of you to keep in mind. March 9th. Can you repeat that to me? What's that date again? March 9th. On March 9th, you have to get all of your old SentriLock lock boxes exchanged for the new Bluetooth lock boxes. After March 9th, those old SentriLock lock boxes will no longer work. So you do not want them on properties because you won't be able to get them off. So you have to do your very best to get all of those properties off and the new lock boxes on by March 9th. We're giving you a little over 2.5 weeks to get that done. So I think you're going to hear a lot about these Bluetooth boxes today. I think you're going to love all the bells and whistles that it does. I think it's really going to be a great tool for all of you to use. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to SentriLock's trainer, Mr. Dan Kinsey.
Okay, can you guys hear me in the back? All right, so I have a question. We have one question. What is the date these cut off? March 9th, that's right, there's a Butterfinger. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. First and foremost, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. My name is Dan Kinsey, I'm from SentriLock, and I'm going to be your trainer for today. Now, I have 3 jobs really to do here today, okay? Number 1, I want to make sure that you guys get out of here on time. I hate going to training classes and then they're running like way too long. So I want to make sure you guys get out of here on time. How long is that? It's probably going to be around 45 to 55 minutes, okay? Next, I want to make sure you understand all of this content. Now, it's not rocket science, but there are some changes. I want to make sure everyone is comfortable with the new changes. I realize some people learn faster or slower, or better or worse with technology. So if you do not have all of your questions answered here today in this classroom, come see me afterwards. I'm here till 5 o'clock tonight. Come see anyone with a SentriLock badge. We're happy to help you out, even if it's not a question that pertains to this class. Also, we're going to keep it casual. So if you guys do have questions, please raise your hand. I'll try to answer them in the order they come in. Just realize the more questions you ask, the longer you may be here. So just if you think it's a question that everyone is thinking, ask it. If it's something specific, just kind of hold it on to the end, okay? Lastly, I've been in training classes that are painfully, brutally boring. So I talk fast, I try to flail my arms and make terrible jokes, and we're going to have some fun here. Does that sound good? Yes. Cool. All right. First things first, everyone, take out your phone right now and put it on silent. Okay? Take out your phone and put it on silent. I don't care if you text or email or Snapchat or whatever the kids are doing these days, but I don't want anyone taking a call. That's all. If you do get a call, I understand everyone's working. Just step outside the doors and take it. It's sad that I even have to say that, but I literally had a gentleman in a class this size, not here, thankfully, but literally take a 4-minute phone call in the front row. Like, not just like a, hey, I'm in a class, let me call you back, but like a real deal, full 4-minute phone call. So, okay, with that being said, we will go ahead and get started. So, just by a show of hands, how many of you have already downloaded or used the mobile app SentriSmart? Awesome, that is great. How many of you have no idea what I'm talking about? Perfectly fine too, okay? That's why you're here in class. So, what I don't want you to do is start downloading it now and trying to use it now, okay? We'll talk about how to download it, where to download it. We're here afterwards to help. If you do have the mobile app, please don't follow along on the app. Just watch up here. I just don't want to make sure you miss anything or you try to do anything with the box that I'm trying to do, okay? So we're going to talk about the mobile app quite a bit. We're also going to talk about the Sentry card. When do I use a Sentry card? Do I still use the Sentry card? Can I can I just use the app altogether? We're going to discuss all of that. Then we're going to cover some best practices, where to get started, where to go to get help, all right? So this is the brand new Bluetooth Realtor lockbox. It's like a white, taupe, beige, kind of off-white kind of color. It looks very similar to the blue NXT boxes you have, and they behave very similar to the silver lockbox that you guys had previously that I saw everyone was turning in today. If you can see on the screen on the right, that is SentriSmart, our mobile application. The first time you download this, it's going to ask you for your username and password. Now, this is the same username and password you used to renew the card, all right? That hasn't changed. When you get into the app, it's going to ask you for a PIN. That PIN hasn't changed. It's the same thing you use with your Sentry card, okay? What's cool about the app is the first time you get logged in, it saves your information. So kind of like Pinterest or Facebook, you don't have to log in every single time you use it. I'll show you once you open the app up, it is very fast. All right? The idea behind this is make this faster, make this easier to use, make this better for our business, and I think that's what they've done. On the right-hand side here, you've got a card carrier sheet. When you leave here today, everyone is going to get a goodie bag. I'll say that again. Everyone here is going to get a goodie bag. Inside the goodie bag, you're going to get a card carrier sheet, and an envelope, all right? Your card carrier sheet, if you look right in the middle, is going to have, well, on this slide right here, is going to have your username and password. So if you don't know your username and password, that's perfectly fine. It's going to be in your goodie bag. Sound good? Okay, next question. How many of you have a smartphone? How many of you have a flip phone? Okay, cool. So the one guy in the back waving his hand, that's perfectly fine. We're going to cover a lot of information on the app, but you do not have to use the app. You can still use the Sentry card. For those 99.9% of you that raised your hand that have a smartphone, I'm going to encourage you to use your smartphone. All right? It gets easier, it gets faster, it gets simpler, and there's more bells and whistles. Hopefully by the end of training class, you say, yeah, I'll probably use the app because it's easier and faster and more bells and whistles. All right? So let's take a look at the physical lockbox. So just like before, you've got 6 message indicator lights at the top of the lockbox, all right? This is how the lockbox is going to communicate with you with what's going on inside the box. Just like a stoplight, green means go, red means stop, yellow means floor it, right? Okay, guess not. In the bottom right-hand corner, you have your enter key. In the bottom left-hand corner, you have your function key. Most of this looks pretty similar, right? Now, the one thing that is going to be different about these boxes, if you hear nothing else for the entire class, hear this. Anytime you do anything with the box, you always start off by pressing enter, no matter what. It's kind of like clear on a calculator. You guys remember calculator? You press clear on it first before you start doing anything. With the lockbox, you always start by pressing enter, okay? When you do, it lights up, it beeps, it unlocks the keypad, even if it's locked, and you're going to see a blue blinking light. All right? That blue blinking light is the Bluetooth transmission. All right? That means this box communicates with your phone via Bluetooth. What's cool about that is that means you can now access this box directly from your phone without having to have cell coverage. Okay? So you're in a completely dead zone. You can still open the lockbox via Bluetooth. All right? I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. You're going to notice here in just a couple minutes, that blue blinking light is going to go away. All right? That's because after 60 seconds of inactivity, it goes back into like basically a hibernation mode, right? That's why anytime you do anything in the box, you press enter. Okay, everybody got that, right? No one call in the support department and say, it doesn't work. And they're going to say, well, did you press enter? And you're like, okay, click. Okay, so let's take a look at SentrySmart. Now, there are 4 tabs on here that we're really going to spend the most amount of time on, okay? If guys, just FYI, I've got an iPhone up here. If you have an Android, all this information is basically the same, except these 4 tabs are at the top on an Android and at the bottom on an iOS. Don't ask me why they just made it differently. They just try to make my life difficult. But all the information's the same. It's just where it is, all right? So the first one is mobile access. Notice it's a little key because it thinks you're going to be accessing the keys. Once you log in, this is the page that it's going to default to because it assumes you're trying to get the key out, right? That's what you want, so we're going to start there. If you're going to be accessing key compartments, that's what you're going to use. Next, we have the message center. This is where it's going to store all of your notifications, right? Anytime someone is showing the property or has a beginning of showing notifications, that's all stored in the message center. Next, we have lockbox tools. This is going to be where you're going to manage your inventory of lockboxes. So, for example, if you want to view an access log, see who's been inside the property, you would do it there. Or generate a one-day code, or release the shackle. All of those things that you're going to do in your lockboxes are in the lockbox tools section. Lastly, we have the settings tab, and the settings tab is essentially where we can toggle on and off some additional features. You can change your PIN, things of that nature. Okay, so here are the things that we're going to cover today. We're going to show you to log in. You're going to open the key compartment, release the shackle. You're going to assign the box to a listing. You're going to generate a one-day code, lockbox settings. We'll talk about how to access a non-Bluetooth lockbox for those of you that ever show property in Maryland. Maryland agents come over and show your property. We'll talk about the message center and the user settings. So what we're going to do here is we're going to flip over and mirror this iPhone that I've got right here. And that's a little high, so let's bring that down just a pinch. Okay, so you guys can see, I'm going to open up SentriSmart, and whoop, it opens right up, and here we are. Notice at the bottom, you've got 4 tabs: Mobile Access, Message Center, Lockbox Tools, and Settings. Again, on an Android, where are they? On the top. Yeah, she said it first. She gets candy. Okay, so when I walk up to a lockbox, all I'm going to do is press what? Enter. Now, what happens when I press enter? It turns the Bluetooth transmission on. Look on the screen. It popped at the very top. There's the listing, and a blue Bluetooth light popped in, right? To open the box, I'm just going to select it. I'm going to type in my 4-digit PIN, and the two are going to communicate via Bluetooth, and the lockbox is going to open up. Just like that. Okay? Now, did you guys notice, what did I press on the lockbox? Enter. That's it. That's all you do. Just enter. Everything else is done on the phone. All right? While you're inside here, if you guys can see up here, there is a plastic key bin. All right there with a little sticker that says keys go here. Also, on the other side, there's a black and red sticker that says keys don't go here. So you can figure out the keys go in the key bin, right? When you're done taking the keys out or putting them in, you can just simply close it with both thumbs. Now, this key bin is larger than the key bin of your older lock boxes, so if you want to put business cards or key fobs or breath mints or whatever you want in there, as long as it fits in the plastic key bin, that's fine, okay? So if you are just showing property, that's all you really need to know how to do. Press enter in the box, select it on the app, type in your PIN, box opens up. Okay? Now in the background, this is where it gets kind of fun. In the background, as soon as I access this lockbox, the listing agent is going to get an instant showing notification that I just showed the property. Okay? So Freddie Robinson is my coworker that I always use for these demonstrations, so you're going to hear Freddie Robinson's name a lot. I access the lockbox. Freddie just got a notification that Dan Kinsey just showed the property at 1:12 in the afternoon. Okay? Instant. Now someone's going to always ask, well Dan, what if you don't have cell coverage? You said you could access the lockbox. Yes, you can still access the lockbox without cell coverage. That showing notification, however, is going to get delayed until you do get back into cell phone range. All right? Let's take a look up on the screen. It says open key compartment succeeded, and right next to it says key missing. Have you guys ever gone to a property and you open the box, there's no key in there? And you're like, this is wonderful, right? So now you have the ability to press key missing, and you can notify the lockbox owner. If you do that, it's going to say, Dan Kinsey showed the property at 1:13 Tuesday afternoon. Freddie Robinson was the last person to access this lockbox at 11 a.m. Here's Freddie's email address. Here's Freddie's cell phone number. Here's Freddie's company. So now you can call Freddie. Freddie, where's the key? Okay. Next, we have what's called a listing detail integration. Now, this is an additional feature. It's free. You can turn this on and off in the settings tab. But essentially, it works like this. How many of you guys use RPR or HomeSnap? You got? Oh, awesome, great. So if you have, do you have the RPR app? Okay, so if you have the RPR app, you can press View Property Details right here, and it's going to automatically flip over to the RPR app and pull all of the information on this listing. Okay. If you don't have the RPR app, it's going to pull up their mobile website. You can log in and still see all the listing detail information. So here's kind of how it works. Let's say you're showing property. You've got a client, you got 6 houses on the list, you get your printout of all your houses you're going to go see, and you walk out of one of the houses, and they say, well, what about that house across the street? I didn't have it on the list, but can we go see it? You're like, well, I have zero information on it. Maybe you call the sign in front of the door and say, talk to the listing agent. Yeah, it's vacant. Okay, yeah, we'll go in. And you're like, I have no information about this. I'm walking into this blind. If you had this data integration enabled, it would automatically pull the information on the listing. So you'd see how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how long it's been on the market, what school district it's in. All of that information that you'd want is right there on the app. Okay? You can press View Property Details, you can press Cancel, and you can also press Don't Ask Again. So if you don't want to be bothered by it, you can just say, hey, don't ask me again, I don't need to see that. Okay, so let's go back to the main screen. We're still on mobile access, and you notice that that listing is not sitting right there. It doesn't have that blue blinking light on there. Why? Because Bluetooth has not been enabled because they didn't press Enter. It's usually around this time someone asks, hey, can I how long is the range on this Bluetooth? Can I be sitting in the car and, open the lockbox from the street? Can I do that? And the answer is yes, sure. You just have to have someone press enter on the box first. Okay? So, just press enter, you'll be fine. So next we're going to go to the message center. You see it's got a little red 1 at the bottom. It's because there's one new message there for me. Just like Pinterest or Facebook, if you've got a notification, it's going to say how many new you have. I'm going to click on the top one. It says it's a beginning of showing notification. This is just a sample of what one would look like. It's going to show Dan Kinsey showed the property. He's with this company, this phone number, this email address. This is when he accessed the lockbox. Okay. Next, let's go over to Lockbox Tools. Now, Lockbox Tools is where we're going to see all of our information on our lockboxes. Okay. So this is my one lockbox I have. What I want to do is I want to press enter on this lockbox to connect to it. All right. So when I press enter, you notice it went from gray to blue on the screen. I'm going to select it, and it's going to connect to the lockbox. It takes just a second. And now I have all these additional options that I can do with the lockbox. Okay. A lot of options. So the first one I'm going to show you is how to release the shackle. Okay. Super simple. I press release shackle. I type in my 4-digit PIN. I press release. As soon as I do, it starts releasing the shackle. When I get a green ready light on the lockbox, I can lift up the shackle. It's completely detachable. Now you'll notice that they open a little slower. The shackle releases a little slower because it turns the motor slower, which makes the battery last longer. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. What I think is important is check out the screen. Okay? It says, release shackle succeeded. This lockbox is currently assigned to 2340 Walker Street. Would you like to remove it from the property? So let's just say we're taking it off listing A and we're putting it on listing B. All right? I can press remove, and now the lockbox is unassigned from the property. Let's just assume that it's Tuesday, February 20th, and you're in a SentriLock training class, and when you leave here today, you're going to go get your lockboxes and you're going to go put them on listings, right? What does that process look like? Well, you press enter on the box, you press release shackle. As soon as I press enter, you're going to type in your PIN, and it releases. Simple, right? That's not difficult, right? We just press release shackle, type in your PIN, okay? What happens on the screen is really cool. It says, hey, now this lockbox is unassigned. This is what's going to happen when you pick up all your boxes, by the way. This box is unassigned. Do you want to assign it to a property, yes or no? I'm going to select assign, and it's going to pull all of my listings over from the MLS. So here are all my, ooh, yeah. All right, okay, she likes that, okay. It's going to pull all of your listings over. So you can simply select it and press assign to property. Now I'm sure someone's going to say, Dan, what happens if I get a new client today, they want the box on the property today, but it's not in the MLS yet? What happens then, right? Well, if you guys look right in the middle of the screen, it says can't find property. You can select that, and it's going to ask you for the numeric portion of the address. So if it was 10541 Lamory Drive, you would type in 10541, press OK. And our system is going to scan the MLS for the next week to see a listing that you put in that starts with 10541. Then it's automatically going to assign it. Okay? Cool? All right. So I'm just going to assign it to this Walker Street and press assign to property. It says property successfully assigned. So there's really no reason you shouldn't have all your boxes assigned to properties because it's easy. Right? I like her. She's enthusiastic. Okay. So next I want to talk about one-day codes. And before I do that, I have a special guest. Special guest.
Hi. Okay, so RAYAC has the capability to do one-day codes. And one-day codes are essentially you're working with an agent who's out of the area and they don't have SentriLock access and they want to access the property. So there are instructions on how that needs to happen, but here is the thing you need to remember. For any agent or any certified appraiser who wants to access the property and they don't have a SentriLock access, the first thing you should tell them to do is contact RAYAC. Why? We give out a free 1-week access to all out of the area agents and certified appraisers. There truly is no reason why they should not get SentriLock access through us. And we can get them with these new Bluetooth boxes, we can get them access in 2 hours. So they don't need to come into RAYAC and pick up a key. They have the access through a mobile app. We'll send them their credentials. So in 2 hours, they can show a property, and you didn't have to do anything except tell them to what? Call RAYAC. So now, That's the first step. If it's on the weekend or if it's in the evening and they cannot access the property or they can't call us, then you have the option of assigning a one-day code. You are able to do that, but there is a form that needs to be filled out. That form needs to be filled out by you, the listing agent, as well as the buyer's agent. Then you fax that form into the RAYAC office. You, as a listing agent, are responsible for assigning that one-day code to the buyer's agent or the certified appraiser. RAYAC will invoice them at a later time, $20 to use that one-day code. So here's why it makes complete sense that they should have SentriLock access, because A, they get it for a week for free. If they want to extend their access, they can buy another week for $20. They can buy a month for $40. They can buy 3 months for $100. Or if they want a full year, they can buy that for $225. So encourage them to get SentriLock access first before the one-day codes. You also have the capability to assign a one-day code to contractors. So let's say you have a painter or a handyman who wants to access the property and you have the seller's permission to give a one-day code to that painter or that handyman to enter the property. You can create those one-day codes for those contractors. It's free for contractors. So, but you still need to fill out the form and fax it into the RAYAC office to ensure that the seller had the permission to enter the property. Also, if your seller locks themselves out of the property and they contact you, say, hey, what numbers can I punch in this box to get a key to enter my property? You can do that. Just fill out the contractor form and put on there, seller locked themselves out. And you fax that all into the RAYAC office. We're trying to make it as easy for you as possible. Any questions? Yes?
When you do the contractor one, are you the agent who's assigning it? Are you the only one that has to sign that form?
So yes, that is correct. You as a listing agent are verifying that you have the permission from the seller to give that one-day code to the contractor. And you're also creating the contractor code yourself. Yes?
What was that limited to fax? Is there a website that you do for that?
So you can send it as a document as well. We don't have it though fillable through the website.
But an email?
Email, you could email that into staff@rayac.com as well. Any other questions? Good.
Okay, cool. So now that we know kind of how to do a one-day code, let's see what it looks like on the mobile app. All right. I'm just going to press Get One-Day Code. You can create a one-day code for up to 14 days in advance. So if you know you've got that handyman coming in on Saturday, you can generate the code today, give it to him today, but it only works on Saturday. All right. That's nice. Yes. So let's just assume that you get a text from your homeowner right now. Hey, I'm locked out. How could you get them in? I'm just going to type in homeowner, type in my 4-digit PIN, and press Get One-Day Code. It's going to pop up on the screen. That's literally how fast it is. All right. Now, instead of having to screenshot this or copy-paste this and send it to your client, you can simply share this screen. So on Android, there's 2 boxes on the bottom. On an iOS, it's at the top. iPhone users, you guys recognize that symbol in the top right-hand corner. I'm just going to press Message to text it to someone, and it fills out the instructions on how to do it in the message body. So you don't have to worry about, typing in the wrong number or the wrong serial number. Okay? You just type it to whoever you're going to, hit send, and it's done. You can generate up to 99 one-day codes a day. So don't be, nervous if they get locked out again an hour and a half later. You can create them another one-day code. Okay? Next, I want to go back to access logs. It's the second one down on the list. If you press View Access Log, it's going to pull anyone who's been inside the property. Now, you're also going to see right here, it says no lockbox access is found. Why? It's because we just released the shackle and put it on that listing, 15 minutes ago, right? On the website, it stores every access on every box forever and ever, amen. On the mobile app, it's just for the last time, or for the last listing, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Here's something that is really cool about using the app, right? Let's just assume that everyone in here, and every class, used the mobile app, okay? So I had a busy day today. My client wants to meet for Panera. You guys have Panera here? Yeah, okay. I haven't had Panera in a while. I like Panera. So my client wants to meet for Panera, so we get together and they say, hey, how many showings did we have today? Well, I can go into the mobile app, click View Access Log, and as long as everyone used their mobile app to access the box, this is going to be up to date as the moment I press the button. All right? If they use their Sentry card, well, they have to renew that Sentry card in order for that information to get populated. Right? For the 1% of people that are using Sentry cards, something to consider is that if I use my card in a lockbox and then someone comes behind with their phone app, by someone using their phone app in the box, it pulls the history that card was used as well. So point of story is that the more people that use the mobile app, the better the system is for everyone because the data is more up to date. Okay. So next I want to go down here a little bit. There's something called Get Shackle Release Code. So let's say the homeowner calls you and says, hey, I'm painting the front door. Can you come down here and take the shackle off? You're like, nah, but I can give you this code to get you in, right? Or maybe you're going to have the other agent bring that lockbox to closing with you, okay? So I can just press Get Shackle Code. I select the date, again, for up to 14 days in advance. Type in my 4-digit PIN, and boom, pulls the shackle code. It also pulls the instructions on how to use it. Notice the instructions are a little bit different. Press and hold Enter. Function 1, type the code, press Enter, and the shackle releases. Just like the one-day codes, you can share this via text or email, and it pulls all the instructions in. All right? One thing to keep in mind is that the code does not reset settings or remove any of the lockbox history. It's just physically releasing the shackle. Any questions on the shackle code? Okay, good so far. Next down is lockbox settings. I won't spend too much time on here, but essentially what this means is that you can customize the settings on this lockbox directly from your phone. So if you want to turn on or off CVS mode or change any codes, or maybe you want to change the hours of operations for this lockbox. So you have a client that says, I don't want anyone coming in here Sundays before noon. You can put that in the MLS notes, but maybe someone just forgets to read that part and tries to access the box. Now you can tell the lockbox, do not let anyone in Sundays before noon, and they will not be able to access the box. Okay? That's all done through the app, all done through Bluetooth. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes?
Those settings, are they clear from your reassignment to the property?
Great question. So his question was, are the settings set to default anytime you release the shackle, essentially, right? Okay, we'll say that. Because I have the microphone and you don't. Okay, so there's something that happens anytime you customize a lockbox. When you release the shackle, it goes back to default settings, all right? Let's say you do property in Maryland. You're selling in Maryland and you want to put this box on a Maryland listing and you want to customize it to Maryland access, and you don't want to have to do that every time you have a Maryland listing. Or you can, I don't know why this would be the case, but you consistently have people that say, I don't want anyone accessing the box before noon every day of the week, all right? You can customize a box and look on the screen. There's something that says reset to default, or resets to default on shackle release. You can uncheck this box and it's going to hold any customization you do to the box forever and ever until you physically change it back. Does that make sense? Cool.
What are the default settings for the time of day that you can use it? Are they 24 hours unless you say otherwise?
Shauna, would you like to answer that question?
Default settings is at 24 hours, no it is not. So you're not able to access the lockboxes at midnight to 5 a.m.
Yeah, everybody hear that? Midnight to 5 a.m.? Now, as an owner of a lockbox, you will always have 24-hour access. So if your client called you at 3 in the morning, I'm sorry they did that, but if they did, instead of locked out, you could go over there and let them in. Okay?
Could you do the code for that?
The one-day code is going to be restricted by the hours of operation that's set by the association. Okay, a couple other things on the lockbox settings tab, all right? Now this part's cool. This is a brand new feature. It's called Sentry Connect, all right? So let's just assume that we've got a painter coming in this weekend, all right? They're going to paint the entire house, but I don't want to have to give them access, a one-day code for Friday, a one-day code for Saturday, a one-day code for Sunday. I don't want to have to do that, right? Wouldn't it be nice if I could just grant them access for that time period and then it expires after Sunday? Wouldn't it be cool that when they got access to the box, it sent me an instant showing notification, right? Wouldn't it be cool if I could restrict access? So let's say it's a hot listing. Sure, you can have access to this property, but only between 12 and 1 o'clock, right? With Sentry Connect, you can do that, okay? The main difference between Sentry Connect and one-day codes are those three things, but also Sentry Connect, you have to have a smartphone, or a one-day code, it's just a code you type into the box, okay? Here is how it works. I'm going to press Grant Sentry Connect Access. On the screen, it asks me for an email address and a phone number. So I'm going to put in the client's email address and phone number. Right below it, it has a start and end date. I can give them all weekend, I can give them maybe just a half-hour window, whatever I want, and press Grant Access. When I press grant access, that person's email on here is going to get a notification that says you've been given access to this lockbox for this time. If they've never used it before, there's going to be a link to download SentriConnect. It's another app. It's our app. We built it. Right? If they have downloaded it, that's perfectly fine. And I know you guys can't see myself. Oh, she doesn't get candy. I know you guys can't see my screen, but as a SentriConnect user, when I open SentriConnect, it says SentriConnect. Press enter to connect to the lockbox you wish to open. All right, in a previous class, I gave myself access to this box. I press enter. On my app, it says enter PIN. I type in my PIN. The two communicate via Bluetooth. The box opens up. Just like that. So that's what it looks like for a SentriConnect user to access your lockbox. Right? What's also great is if you go back to the screen here, we're going to go back over to the Message Center. You're going to see here shortly that it's going to give me a beginning of showing notification. Right? It's going to let me know that someone has access to my lockbox. Right? Typically what it's going to do is it's going to pop up on your lock screen and send you an email. You can change all those preferences, but all that information is always stored in the Message Center or the access log. Does that sound cool? Any questions on how SentriConnect works? All right, cool. Okay, so let's keep going. Lastly, I want to go over to the Settings tab on the mobile app. You can log in and out, not that you need to. You can change your PIN directly from the app. Just realize that if you change it on the app, your card doesn't know that it's been changed until you renew it, okay? You can also turn on and off that listing detail integration that I spoke about with RPR and HomeSnap.
White Dodge Durango has a light.
White Dodge Durango has their lights on. Well, okay. We'll edit that out. Yes, sir.
On the old boxes, I've had situations where the property was shown on Friday and the message came to me on Sunday. What causes that?
Great question. So the question was, I had a showing scheduled for Friday. I did not receive a showing notification until Sunday. All right? In that scenario, what most likely happened is someone used their Sentry card and renewed it, went to the property on Friday, but then didn't renew it again until Sunday. That's where that information is pulled off of that Sentry card and submitted to the listing agent, right? If they had used their mobile app, you'd have been notified immediately, right? We're going to talk about that in just a couple slides, so we'll come right back to that. Lastly, on the Settings tab, you're like 3 slides ahead of me. You know what? You get some candy. Good agent. Okay. Up here, there's something called Agent Safety, all right? I've got a slide I'm going to show you here in just a second, but this is essentially where you enable it and disable it, okay? Called Agent Safety. So I'm going to switch over back to the screen, and we're going to talk about showing notifications, all right? So like I just said, when you access the lockbox with your smartphone, it's going to automatically send a showing notification immediately. If you're out of cell coverage, it'll send it when you get back into cell coverage. But wouldn't it be nice to know, you guys remember that song? Like, wouldn't it be nice? Anyway. Wouldn't it be nice to know when the showing was over? Okay. Now we have what's called an end of showing notification. So it alerts the listing agent when the showing is in fact over. All right. So I've got a true story here. I moved earlier this year and sold my old house. And about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, my neighbor was selling their house, right? So he's trying to make his house look nice. I'm thinking like, all right, well, if he gets more money for his house, I'm going to get more money for my house when I sell it. So I'm trying to do the yard work and keep it up and make it look nice, right? I hate yard work, by the way. But I'm doing the extra 9 mile where you blow off the clippings off the driveway and stuff, right? So trying to make this thing look nice. Mike, my neighbor, has long black hair down to his knees. He's in a heavy metal band. They do heavy metal band practice Thursday nights in the basement. Happily married with 2 young, adorable daughters and 2 massive dogs. Mike drives a minivan, maybe for band equipment, but also because he really does love his family. All right, he's a family guy, total heavy metal guy. He was cool. Mike walks out the door, and I'm doing the yard stuff, and he's like, "Man, I got a showing today. Just keep an eye on the place. We've been having trouble. I'm hoping this is going to be the one." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, man, I'll keep an eye on the place." So they take off in the minivan, they go up the street to the park. I finish up, I go inside, I have a beer, lemonade, and it was actually a jug of water, it was a gallon of water. So I see 2 cars roll up, one with a huge RAYAC sign on it. They go inside the house, they're doing their thing, I'm not really paying attention. 10, 15 minutes later, they roll out. I get a text about an hour later from Mike. This is the one, man. I'm telling you, they've been in there for an hour. I think they're going to put an offer in today. I feel it. I feel good. It's good weather out in Cincinnati, which is like rare. I think this is it. And I'm like, Mike, they left like 45 minutes ago, man. And he's like, what? Like, I've been entertaining this dog and buying these kids ice cream and like, what are we doing here, right? Like, so he's upset. But wouldn't it have been nice if he would have known that the showing was over when they left 45 minutes ago, right? If they would have had this end of showing notification, Mike would have been alerted and Mike could have come back home. Got back to heavy metal practice, okay? So here is how it works. The end of showing notification is triggered in one of 3 ways, right? Number 1, I access a showing. It sends the beginning of showing notification. And then I drive a half mile away. When I leave the listing, I get over a half mile away, it triggers the end of showing notification. Number 2, let's say I access another lockbox. Like say, for example, the house across the street. All right, you go show this property, you walk across the street. The moment you access the second lockbox, it triggers an end of showing notification for the first lockbox. It also triggers a beginning of showing notification for the second lockbox. Okay. Now, let's say someone's always like, what if, Dan, what if I lived in the neighborhood and I only had one showing and I didn't access another lockbox? If neither of those 2 things happen, after 90 minutes, a message pops up that says, it's been 90 minutes, we cannot confirm or deny if the showing was in fact over. Please contact Dan Kinsey at this number to confirm if the showing is over. Okay? So those are the 3 ways that the end of showing notification would be delivered to you guys. Any questions on the end of showing notification? Yes, ma'am?
Will it tell you the first 2? Will it say for sure that it leave?
Yes. So if the first 2 happen, it will say the showing has been confirmed that it is over. If the third one happens, it says it's been 90 minutes and we don't know. Okay? I can tell you, and this isn't in the bit, but I can tell you that when we developed this feature, it was a feature request by some association executives, by brokers, by people using the system. And the comment they made to us is that if it doesn't work 100% of the time, we don't want it. So some of you guys are thinking like, well, why don't you just do it off of like when the box is closed? Well, because some people open the box, they close it right away. Some people open it and leave it open. Some people come back and close it because they forgot their key inside or something. So we decided that distance and opening a different lockbox is really the way to trigger it so that it just works. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
So does that person's location services have to be turned on?
So the person's location services, I believe, has to be enabled. It asks you when you open the app, will you allow it while the app is being used? It does not use GPS. It's actually done by triangulation. What I mean by that is there's a cell tower over there, a cell tower over here, and a cell tower over here. It triangulates your position, and that's how it pulls the information. That is the same way that a lot of apps behave, including our app when you access a non-Bluetooth lockbox, which we'll talk about in a minute. Yes, sir?
This notification will go to the listing agent, the seller, or both?
This notification will go to the listing agent. Okay? Someone always asks next, can you CC that to the homeowner? That's being designed. You can screenshot it and send it to them, but currently we don't have a way to send notifications directly to the homeowner. And I have heard that not all realtors want that either because they want to be kind of in charge of their listing. So, okay, let's move forward, and I want to discuss next the agent safety feature. Okay. Now this is a brand new feature. It's absolutely free. You can use it. You don't have to use it. Up to you. In order to use it, it has to be enabled. By default, it is off. So when you're in the settings tab, you click agent safety, enable. It's going to ask you for emergency contacts. You can put in as many emergency contacts as you want. It's up to you. For this story, I'll use my mom, my dad, and my brother. All right? So I enable this feature. Now what? When I access the lockbox, it starts a timer. 90 seconds goes by, and it pops up with this message. It says, please confirm your safety. You can either press send alert, I'm okay, ask me again in 2 minutes, or I'm okay, don't ask me again. Any of these things you're going to have to type in your 4-digit PIN to confirm that you are who you say you are. Right? If you press send alert, it's going to send a message out to your mom, my dad, and my brother. If you press I'm okay, don't ask again, you type in your PIN and it disappears. If you press I'm okay, ask me again in 2 minutes, it's going to pop up every 2 minutes until you press one of the others. Right? Now someone always asks, Dan, what happens if I don't do anything? What happens if there is a problem and I can't respond to my phone? Well, after this pops up, 30 seconds after this, if you do nothing, it automatically sends a message out to your emergency contacts, your mom, dad, and brother, that says Dan Kinsey has not acknowledged the safety confirmation check. He last accessed lockbox 12345 at 123 Main Street. Here's the cell phone number. You can also click the address, and it's going to open up their native map program, Apple Maps or Google Maps, and show them right exactly where you are. Okay? Now, again, you don't have to use this. You can if you want. It's free. Just my suggestion, if you are going to use this, have a conversation with your mom, dad, and brother. So if they ever get this message, there's a plan of attack or something to do. Okay? Yes, sir.
Are you allowed to put 911 in there?
So if you put in 911, it only sends a text message alert out. All right, so would not be my recommendation. My recommendation would be to put someone, maybe someone in your office, and if you think that 911 is the person to call when this goes out, say if you receive this, you call 911, you tell them where I'm at. Or you drive right over, or you call me right away, there's a safe word, or however you want to use it is between you and however you are using it. So there is an agreement that says you have to like agree to, that says like this is not an emergency responder that is answering this is your contact, so there is something to agree to, but good question. So okay, let's keep going to get you guys out of here on time. Let's talk about the SentriCard, right? Now, you guys are all very familiar with the SentriCard and how to use it. The same features and functionality work on this new lockbox as they did the old lockbox. To open the box, you slide the card in, type your 4-digit PIN in, press enter, pull the card out. It's the same with this box. If you want to release the shackle, it's the same way. Slide your card in, type in your 4-digit PIN, press enter. Function 1 enter, the shackle releases. All right. You want to assign it, it's the function 2, street address, MLS number. Right. If you have a smartphone, I'm going to recommend you use your smartphone to do all that. All right. Here's why. With your smartphone, with the mobile app, you don't have to renew anything. It just automatically does it. It automatically works in the background. You don't have to touch it. I personally haven't renewed my card in 6 months. Right? Why? Because I use my mobile app for everything. For anyone that doesn't have a smartphone, that has a flip phone, that doesn't want a smartphone, doesn't want to use this app, you can still use the smart card, and that's perfectly fine. It's going to be my suggestion, even if you're an app user, to keep your card with you. Keep it in your wallet, keep it in your pocket, keep it in your purse for a rainy day, just in case your phone, something happens to it. Ran out of battery, you drop it, it blows up, whatever. Okay? That's going to be my suggestion. One of the things that is going to change, however, with the new system is that now this card is going to expire at midnight. So that means when I renew it this morning, I can use it all day at any showings I want, but at midnight, now it is expired. Right? If I don't have any showings tomorrow, it's expired, I don't have to renew it. I don't have showings the next day. Let's say I've got showings Saturday, I renew it Saturday morning, and now I can access lockboxes all day Saturday. It's good till midnight. Why do we do this? Well, as the gentleman pointed out earlier, he had a showing on Friday, he didn't hear about it for 48 hours. And that's on a good day, right? We want that showing information back faster, right? This is also going to encourage anyone that's like, maybe do I use the app? Maybe do I use the phone? Raise your hand in here if you don't want your notification sent to you sooner than later. Okay? All of us want it now, right? I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. So if everyone uses the app, those showing notifications get delivered instantly. Okay? This one-day renewal period is going to start on the magic date of
March 9th.
who said it? It was March 9th. There we go. So if you get everyone here is going to get your card today when they leave. It's good for 7 days. It'll be good for 7 days anytime you renew it up until March 9th. And March 9th, it expires at midnight every night. Okay? Yes, sir.
Okay, on the renewal part, if somebody shows the property with a card and then doesn't renew it for 2 weeks,
All right. What happens if someone uses their card? He's just going to keep asking them for all the candy. You realize that, right? We're going to be here all night. What happens if I use my card in a box and then I never renew it again? I lost it, right? The next person to use their box with their smartphone, it's going to pull that access log information, all right? Let's just assume that all of you used a SentriCard at my lockbox, all right? And then Freddie used his smartphone at my lockbox. And you guys, none of you ever renewed your card. Freddie's connection to the phone, to the box, is going to pull all of your access information and send it to me. Okay? Now you see why the more people that use the app, the better it gets for everybody, right? Great question. Yes?
So keeping the card with you is only as good as renewing it every day.
Great question, and you are 2 slides ahead of me, which we'll jump to right now. Okay. What happens if We'll even back up further than that. So we have what's called a single key design. All right, that means you can use the app, you can use the card. You just can't use both at the same time. All right? Why? Well, we believe in keeping an honest man honest. I don't want to tempt anyone with the ability to give their card to their client and say, you can just go check this house out by yourself, and I go take these clients out with my phone. So here's how that really works in the real world. Okay? If I'm a card user and I don't have a smartphone, it's fine. I renew my card, I show properties. When my card is expired, it drops down, I renew it, it's good for the rest of the day. Right? If I'm an app user, I don't have to do anything, my app just works. I go show property on my app, yada, yada, yada. When, let's say, my phone battery dies, or I drop my phone, or something happens with my phone, I forget it, all right, the last house, God forbid. Your card is expired. If you renew the card, it turns the app access off for the day. Okay? That means I renew the card, I can show properties for the rest of the day. At midnight, the card goes back to being expired, and the phone app is back on. If you do that, if you're an app user and you renew the card, this is the message you're going to see on the app. It says, your Sentry card is currently your primary form of access. Use your Sentry card until midnight. You can still go to Message Center. You can still go to Lockbox Tools, release shackle, view one-day codes, all that fun stuff. But you just can't open the key compartment. Okay? Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, Dan, what happens if my phone dies and I have my card in the glove box? Does that mean I have to drive across town to a reader to renew it? No. My suggestion is borrow your client's phone, call the number on the back of the card and say, hey, I'm an app user, my card's expired, I'm stuck, can you help me out? They're going to say, sure, what's your 4-digit PIN? It's this. They'll walk you through putting the card in the box and renewing it at the lockbox. Okay? So still should be able to get you inside the property. Did that answer your question? Okay. The only thing this prevents is from me from giving you my Sentry card and you going over there and me taking my app from going over there. And again, this is just to keep an honest man honest. If you're in a jam, if you're in a bind, call the support department or call RAYAC and say, hey, I'm in a jam, I need some help. All right, we're really here to help you. We're here to get you guys into properties. We just want to follow the rules, okay? Anybody know what time our support department closes?
It doesn't.
Oh, it does. At some point, they're not support department closes at midnight every night. The automated line, though, is open 24/7. Okay, so any questions on this single key design? Okay, this single key design also starts on March 9th. You guys are getting a theme here. March 9th, your old box is cut off. March 9th, we go to a one-day renewal period. March 9th, the single key design starts. So what does that really mean? That means you have from now till March 9th to try out the app, try out the card, figure out which one you like better, and then by March 9th, hopefully we have convinced you to use the app. The one slide I skipped over was the Sentry Smart versus the Sentry Card slide. Essentially, this is just comparing the differences between using the card daily or using the app daily. This is just a fancy way of saying everything gets really easy by using the app. You don't have to renew the card. You don't have to hop on the website. You don't have to use the reader. You can do everything from your phone. Okay? All right, so let's keep on going. Good on time. Section 3, best practices. Before I go any further, I need to show of hands. How many of you are bored? No, I'm just kidding. How many of you guys are not picking up lock boxes today? Okay, and I assume the rest of you, about 50-50, are picking up boxes, is that correct? Okay, so we're not done, but we're going to have a conversation. When you leave, you're going to be escorted down a hallway. He doesn't know where he's going, so he's going to be lost. It's going to be great. Down the street behind Burger King. No, I'm kidding. You're going to be escorted down a hallway, and there's going to be a long table. And there's going to be people behind this table, and they're going to ask you for your last name. All right? All these bags are going to be lined up alphabetically, A to Z. Well, I'm sorry, A to Z. All right? So if your last name starts with Z, maybe kind of venture off to the right side. If you've got lock boxes, someone is going to walk those boxes to your car. I mean, if you have more than 10 boxes or something, right? If you want help, they'll help you walk them to you, okay? When we leave here today, we're going to dismiss the people that don't need lock boxes first, because you just have a goodie bag and then you're out the door. Jeez. Well, all right. We are almost done, so give me like 10 more minutes and we'll get out of here, all right? So a couple of best practices. Number 1, you should have no excuse not to assign the lockbox to the listing. When you release the shackle, it asks you where you're putting it. Just assign the box to the listing. You guys are picking up a lot of lockboxes. I imagine your brokers want to know where they are. All right? These are not cheap. All right? Also, when you get a showing notification, you don't care about the serial number, you care about the listing address. So assign the box to the listing. Also, if someone calls in and needs a one-day code, you don't have to remember which serial, you guys get it. Assign the box to the listing. It's water resistant, not waterproof. All that means is as long as you hold the box as close to vertical as possible like this is fine, fine. All this is fine, this is bad. If you set the box like this, it can't drain water effectively. Water can build up inside it and destroy the box. There are batteries and electronics inside. So just as close to vertical as possible would be great. Anything into the box must fit into the key bin, just like we talked before. Did my voice just crack? And then also, this part is important. There is a battery plug right here, okay? It is a little rubber plug. Don't pick at this. Just leave it, okay? Leave it there. Someone hasn't asked yet, but someone always does. Dan, where in the world are the batteries in this box, all right? They're not on the back. They're actually on the inside of the box, all right? The batteries in this box last 7 to 10 years, all right? So you won't have to replace any anytime soon, all right? When the batteries get low, you're going to get a notification that says the battery in lockbox 123 on 12345 Main Street, because you'll assign it, is low, go change it. The batteries are free, they're covered under warranty. Just go to RAYAC, pick them up, you can swap them out. It takes 13 seconds to do. There's 2 Phillips head screws. You'll have a pamphlet that shows you how to do it. It's easy, then you get another 7 to 10 years. Dan, what happens if I'm on vacation because I totally read that email and the box dies on the property and now the battery's on the inside? What then? Then is when you can pick this little thing out, all right? We have what's called a battery change kit. Comes with a pick tool. This rubber piece that's weather sealed comes out. There's a plug behind. The batteries plug into the plug, provides power to the box. You can open up the box with Bluetooth. Anytime you use the Bluetooth app, it automatically sets the clock on the box. So it takes about 55 seconds to do the entire thing. And then you get another 7 to 10 years, okay? Just don't pick up the plug now. Okay, brokers and office staff. This is the information you're going to see on the website. It hasn't changed. No one asked about teams, but if you're on a team with someone now, that information is stored. It's not changing. Brokers, if you're sharing your boxes with your agents, they'll still be able to use all the new boxes. None of that has changed on the infrastructure side. It's just how you access the box or how do you communicate with the lockbox. When you leave here today, everyone gets a goodie bag. You're going to get a card carrier sheet, pocket reference guide. If you dropped off lockboxes, you'll receive them today. This is pretty cool. This is in your goodie bag. It's called a resource help information sheet. It's basically the top 10 things people come and talk to us about after class. All right? How do I download the app? How do I get it installed? What's my Apple password? I forgot my Apple password. Tell me about agent safety. All those things are going to be right on this sheet. If you want some human interaction and want some help from us, no problem. We're happy to help, but it's also going to be there if you got somewhere to be. You also can go to SentriLock.com/help. That's going to cover anything on SentrySmart, the lockbox, the card utility, anything you want. You can just click and go through a little FAQ. You can also use our YouTube channel, which is nice because there's a pause button on there, which is kind of nice. I know I talk fast. And then you can also call our support department. If you are in the app, you can press the call button at the top right, and it will call our support department. Anybody want to guess where our support department is located?
Ohio.
Where in Ohio? Yeah, Cincinnati, Ohio, okay? This is a screenshot of our support department. We're open from 8 a.m. till midnight. This sounds weird, but we are overstaffed. We have 65 customer service representatives there to answer your calls, right? You guys want to hear a fun stat? Yes. Okay. Our average speed of answer is under 12 seconds, all right? Now, how many members are in RAYAC going through this conversion right now? Okay, so it may be longer than 12 seconds, okay? But we are here and we understand that if you've got a problem, you probably need to get it done fast. You're probably standing at the door in front of clients. If you have a more technical question, and this is just me giving you some advice, maybe don't call between 2 and 5 p.m. That's probably the biggest time frame, right? So if you want someone like, hey, I just want someone to walk me through downloading the app or walk me through how to use it, we're happy to do that at any time, but if you don't want to wait 12 seconds, call after 5 p.m. All right? All right. I'm going to take 3 questions, and then we're going to get out of here early. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is our sister MLSs converting as well? So CPML and LCAR, are they getting these new boxes so we can use the app or not?
So at the current time, go ahead, Shauna.
So, I'll answer that question. So, the Bright MLS conversion had nothing to do with the lockbox conversion. Every single association is continuing to own and operate all of their own lockboxes. So, Greater Harrisburg will continue to use Lancaster County will continue to use Supra. All of our associations to our south are on SentriLock, west is on SentriLock. So you will not be able to access the super boxes in Greater Harrisburg or Lancaster. Here's the follow-up part, is we are developing a focus group of all the associations in Bright MLS and talking about we're all now on one common MLS system. How can we get them all common one lockbox system? So those conversations are ongoing, but there is no final answer to that. But hopefully, at some point in the future, we'll all be on one lockbox system.
The majority of Bright MLS associations are also on SentriLock.
Yes.
Okay, 2 more questions. Yes, in the back.
Team question. Can my team see what I can see? So I don't put my lockboxes on my listing because somebody else from the team is. Are they going to be able to go out to the field and be able to pull out a list of all of the team listings? All that stuff?
Sure. So if you have a team member, I'm going to follow up your question with a question. Could they previously see all of your listings on the website? No? Okay. If you're on a team, you can see everything that the owner can see. Which means you can view access logs, you can release the shackle, you can assign boxes to listings, you can do everything. The only thing that I would want to make sure if you want to see me afterwards or see any of the SentriLock people afterwards, just to ensure that you are in fact on a team with that person. If you want to be on a team with someone, it's very simple. You can do it on the website. There's literally one button, add team. Okay, who are you adding to your team? This person, done. Or call the support department and say, hey, can you add this person to my team? They'll just ask you for your 4-digit PIN. Okay? But as a team member, you can do everything that the owner can do. Yes, in the back.
If you have a card with multiple regions on it now, you have to go to the office or will it automatically update?
Great question. If you have a card with multiple regions now, those region files are actually attached to your agent record. So if you use the app or the card, they are going to have those regions already pre-installed on them. So the card that you get today will have those regions on if you had them on yesterday or a week before. Same goes with the app.
My last final tip is for everyone. Most of you walking out of this room today will start using the SentriLock mobile app. So we want you to do that. But that doesn't mean you should just take your card and decide to forget where it is. What I would suggest that you do is keep your card in your wallet, keep it in your car for a backup. If you ever get into the circumstance where all of a sudden you're at that lockbox and your phone dies for whatever reason, your card is your backup. You can get that card out, you can borrow your client's phone, call into SentriLock with the card so you can get into the property. So keep the card with you as a backup. That's my best tip.
Great tip. Okay.